Hey everyone, welcome back to BrickVault and to another top 10 MOCs of the week, where I highlight the coolest custom creations I happen to come across on social media and the internet in general. Last episode was a themed one to get started again. Also a new voice on the channel. He may return for the occasional top 10 MOCs video in the future and will introduce himself as well, so keep an eye out for that. This top 10 MOCs is a little delayed because I was sick and you may still hear it in my voice, so sorry for that. This is a regular episode though, not a themed one, just cool LEGO stuff in my very subjective order. So grab a fresh cold drink or a warm drink if it's cold outside where you live, sit back, relax and enjoy. This week we added the incredible Magna Guard Starfighter and Cat Bane's Xanadu Blood in full minifig scale to the web store. Instructions can be found in the description below, where you can also find all the links to the builds shown here in the video, so make sure to give them a follow. But let's not waste any more time and get right into it. On 10th spot this week is a build by Jock Build. I hope I pronounced that right, probably not. And it's called Paper Crane. This seems to be a robot that looks like it could be a very terrifying encounter if you're a soldier out in the woods. I don't think this is from any media specifically, but it doesn't have to be. This concept is really cool to me and the parts used here are very unconventional, which in the LEGO world always is a plus. We have what I believe is a wristband, maybe from the Dots theme or a wristwatch, I'm not sure. Please let me know in the comments. The legs are steel beam support pieces, and what makes this stand out to me and makes it look so scary is the eye, which is a color sensor from the education line, I believe. You really don't want to be sniped down by this thing. Next up we have a build by Cookie Bricks named Dragons of the Pond. Beautiful builds for koi fish beneath the water surface. You can see that by the placement of the water lily up top, and that has a beautiful build for the blossom. There's also another one going up to the surface here. The kois themselves look very majestic. If you squeeze your eyes, they barely look like LEGO. Very flowy lines, thanks to the extensive use of 1x2 round plates and horn pieces at the tips. We also have a little snail at the bottom called Sammy apparently. A very nice looking display piece overall. On 8th place we have an insane build by Tolerant X97. This seems to be a collaborative effort, but I'm not sure, so check out the original post to see yourself. This is a reimagination of Bionicle set 8596 and it's called Takanuva Tower of Light. Usually I'm not the biggest fan of purely digital models and I'm not 100% sure this is the case here, but this is just so cool to me that it had to be on this list. The build for the bike is insane and it also has legs, it seems like. This looks like it would be pretty large in reality, so I'm not sure if it could hold up like that, but the concept is so nice even though I was never that deep into Bionicle myself. Seeing it next to the set is just plain cool. Moving on, we have a Star Wars build, specifically from Rogue One, and it's called Ambush on Jeddah City by Hyperlight Bricks. I always like these slices of movies. You can really get your head in there and explore all the minute details and frankly get yourself involved in the scene. I like the stand of the build and the details in the floor, especially the piping going up the vents in the floor, a very nice touch. I also spotted a character in the background that I actually just found a couple of days ago and didn't know existed, but apparently he was in the movie and his name is Kaysen Borg. Nice touch there. I like the Overbish writing on the bridge, and of course the Imperial tank is really nicely done. If this wasn't a war scene, I think it would be very cozy for a minifig to be here. Sometimes I would just like scenes like these at my apartment so I can play around in them with minifigs. Next on the list is a Microscale build of what looks like Mars, but is actually a planet called Gothia. At least that's what it's called in the description, and it's by builder Sidarian. I'm not sure if this is from any media, but I can just enjoy the concept and the build here. I like the little dome town on the surface, looks like the base from the Martian movie with Matt Damon. We have a rocket or a couple of smaller projectiles taking off in the back, and this is a forced perspective build with the moon and the stars built into the background. On 5th place I chose a build from Robin Hood by builder Jim Baggins Lego. It's been quite a while since I last saw Robin Hood, probably a couple of decades at this point to be honest, but the scene here is just cool and too recognizable. We have Robin Hood here stealing the belongings of Prince John to give to the poor. I love the build for the bed, very nice details on the backrest. We also have Sir Hiss sleeping in the front of the bed. This build unfortunately only exists for the pictures, but what does exist looks really cool. And technically these are two builds because Jim Baggins Lego also built part of the outside of the castle. On 4th place we have two absolutely insane builds that you may have already seen if you're active in the Lego community, because they have been displayed at Bricktastic and got a lot of attention. I'm a little late to the party here because again I was sick last week, so I wasn't able to do a top 10 video, but anyways, here we have Lugia and Ho-Oh by Monty Builds. With all the recent Lego Pokemon hype, it doesn't surprise me one bit that these blew up. Even without the hype, these are just insanely cool. They are huge and the way they are posed on the stand is so dynamic. They must be very sturdy to hold up like this, especially the wings of Lugia are so massive, really imposing stuff. Each one has around 5,000 parts apparently, weighs 5 kilos and are about 60 centimeters tall. Insane models that I would love to see displayed at the Pokemon headquarters for sure. The bronze medal this week goes to Devourer of Lego, which is an extremely unfriendly name to pronounce for a German like myself, and it is an unnamed creation that I will simply call Temple Shrine. There's not too much to it color-wise, but the techniques here are top of the line, with the whisks in the roof being used as detail. The columns are made up of old rail pieces, and there are tread pieces used at the top and bottom of the columns too. The stand of the shrine itself uses old gear pieces with bars inserted between the gear teeth, and the floor is made up of a ton of roller skate pieces and Thor's hammer. A build doesn't always have to be massive or colorful to be a good build, and that's all we care about here. I wasn't sure which one to put on top and which one to put second, but I wanted to use this as one of the thumbnail options, so it goes second. This is Echolanto by Woomy World, a truly insane builder of creatures. I highly urge you to check them out. This build is so graceful and elegant, again not something I recognize from any media specifically, but I wish this was a real creature that you can hold as a pet, because how cool would it be to ride on this to a middle school fight where your bully waits for you to beat you up and you show up admittedly unfairly with this 8 feet creature. This is what middle schooler dreams are made of, and then you ride into the sunset on this with your crush. Anyways, very nice build for the floor with again cool blossom builds. I was about to say this model uses non-Lego parts for the wings, but it will be forgiven. But these actually come in a Ninjago set, so I think this is 100% Lego. The head looks so cute and evil at the same time, and I like that it has a mane around the neck. Just a very cool build overall. And on first place this week we have a build by a fellow BrickVault builder, Caleb Bricks, with an insane depiction of the main villain from Zelda, Ganondorf. This build looks actually huge, small detail, but I like the side detailing of the stand with the cheese slopes touching. What made me choose this build so high up, even though I'm not even a big fan of Zelda myself, is the detail on the cape. The cape itself is made up of a few boat sailed pieces without printing, but Caleb decided to print the details with Lego, so we have a lot of gold highlights on the inside of the cape. I also like the fray on the bottom of the cape. Ganondorf is displayed in a very dynamic pose, ready to strike, and I really like the build of the face. Very recognizable. And that wraps it up. Again, you can find the links to these and the web store in the description. Make sure to leave a like if you enjoyed, let me know which one you think was the coolest mock. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll catch you in the next one at BrickVault.